Hey, how's it going? This is my first video that I'm going to post, and this is just a channel talking about music, also vinyl too. This video is really just kind of an introduction, kind of getting warmed up, as they say. Yeah, my name's Adam, 25, been collecting records for like 13, 14 years, and I'm just going to show you some finds that I have found in the past few years while moving up to New York that I thought was pretty interesting. So this first one, it's kind of a cheat because there's three records actually. Facebook Marketplace is really undervalued, I'll tell you. I have found a ton of amazing finds, and I was in Long Island for this weekend, and this guy was on Facebook Marketplace just having three Doors albums promoted, just selling three random Doors albums. So I asked him, like, do you have any more records? And he said, yeah. So he sent me a few other pictures, just, records strewn about his floor. And I saw a few, and one of them caught my eye. So we eventually met up at Deer Park, Long Island. We met up at a Walmart parking lot. He brings out these two crates, and there's like Poison, and he wanted these Iron Maiden albums for $20 each, which is good, if they're in good shape, but these ones were just beats. So I'm like, no thanks. I got a crate for about $80, right? And in this crate was not only the first Megadeth press, okay, but also the second album and the third album. So I originally was going to sell these, but I figured I'm going to keep them. So first press here, second press, so far so good, so what? And this is the kicker of the story, okay? So you don't find any Megadeths in the wild. In the wild is a term where you just find it kind of naturally. You never see any heavy metal, right? But three Megadeths, all in pretty good condition. They're scratched a bit, but they sound great. This is just like insane, okay? My dad actually found, but he called me about it because he thought it was kind of weird. And I pulled the gun on it because it was $80 or $75, I think, at the time. All this says is Meltdown, Stranger Than Fission, 1980, Private Press, STF-001, Rare Jazz / Funk Fusion LP signed by guitarist, Near Mint. This is the record right here. So come to find out, this record's starting to climb in value on Discogs. A lot of people seem to really like it. And the record is, it's just in beautiful shape. I know you can't see it from here, but it's not a scratch on it. It's a very interesting record. It doesn't sound very jazz fusion-y, Captain Beefhearty-ish, but also just kind of has a lot of electrical folk type of elements to it. It's very weird. A cool album nonetheless, right? So this is the last rock record. So this is a story. I'm in Long Island, again, Long Island, and my aunt had me drive to the library to drop off a book of hers. And on the way to the library, I see this yard sale. So I stop, pull up to the driveway, I walk up, and there's like an amp and a record player, but nothing else. Or do you guys have records or any in the house? And they let me come in. They said that someone else asked about it, but they didn't let them in, so that was kind of cool. And so I go in, and their house is very antique-y, wood everywhere. It's like you walk into your grandparents' house, kind of, but they're in their mid-50s, I think. So I go to these records here, and they're just all stacked, all crazy, just all strewn about. And funny enough, there was a Wish You Were Here half-speed mastered from 1980, which is worth like $400, but there's a crack in it that causes it to have a louder and louder kind of crack towards the last minute of each side. Plus, it's all beat up. It's like G+ condition. But that's kind of what I was dealing with. What else can be in here? Now, mind you, these people kind of had the vibe of like Andy Williams, Johnny Cash. They told me they hate the Beatles, they hate Pink Floyd, they hate Bob Dylan, and that's what they had. But they also had like Steve Miller, Bad Company. I mean, they had a few different records. So I'm looking through, and I swear it's one of the last records I'm looking through, and it's all the way in the back. And I'm having to move all these records all over because it's like a record bomb went off. And in here is the 19, I think 75, 76 press, German press in A Magical Mystery Tour. And when I took it out, the guy took it out of the paper and was just like handling it with his hands. I was just like, ugh, and he was putting it back in the paper. Jesus, stop. It's still in really good shape. VG plus for sure. But there's one skip on, I think, Flying or Blue Jay Way. It's one of those two songs. But everything else sounds beautiful. And there's a really loud pop at the very end of the first track, which it's like the track ends and then click. It doesn't, it's not even in the song. I mean, like, you just never come across this, ever. And I knew about this record prior, and I flipped. I, like, internally had to keep my composure, because this is a really, really solid record. You're looking for the A1 and B3 on the Matrix for this specific vinyl. And I played this, and then I put on the copy of A Magical Mystery Tour, the US press that I had. It's no comparison. It sounds so crazy. This literally sounds like it's real master tape. I mean, it just sounds amazing. All right, so the last two are jazz. I have found a lot of good jazz online, but when I think about the best finds, right, stuff that I didn't have to spend like $500 for, which we will get into those albums quite later. But these two kind of come to mind as like really good, solid jazz albums that I found for a pretty good price. So the first one, Soul Train by John Coltrane. I was scrolling through eBay. This listing comes up for $40. I think it was $35 plus shipping for this record. Buy it now. This was the only picture. It was literally just like this. And it showed the back with the deep groove. So I'm like, did I just come across the first press of Soul Train? This record goes for like $500-$600. It comes in the mail, and it plays great. It's a little scratched, has a little crackle, but honestly, it plays great. It's fantastic. Amazing album. Now, this is probably the creme de la creme, I feel like, personally for me. So this is a signed copy of Blues in the Abstract Truth. Now, I never take it out of here, but just I wanted to show you. And this is I believe an Italian press. But in this press, you don't have one signature or two or three. You have 5 out of the 7. Now, the 2 that are missing are Eric Dolphy and Bill Evans. But it's really hard to see. And I wrote like on the wrap here, so it's not on the actual record. We have Paul Chambers, you have Roy Haynes, you have Oliver Nelson, Freddie Hubbard's here, and then George Barrow, who's the Barry sax player on this, he's on here. He's actually not credited on the front of the album. He's the only musician on there. But this I found also on eBay. I was working at a grocery store, and I saw it on eBay. It listed, I bought this for like $150, and it's very faded, but Paul Chambers is right there. You never see Paul Chambers sign stuff, ever, in your life. I've never seen it. And, you know, because he died very young, in 69. But this is just an insane find. So yeah, that's just kind of like a quick little introduction. I think I'm either going to do like top 5 favorite jazz albums I found, or just top 5 records that I have. Either most expensive or just ones that I personally love that are worth a little bit that you could find that are a little hard to find. So yeah, this is Adam. Thanks for tuning in.